Hey there, and welcome back to our channel, The Second Look. In case you don't know us, we are Norbert, here on the other side of the camera, and me, Martin. We are two passionate hobby photographers and who love to reveal the stories behind our shots to you and also to learn with every misstep that we make. So Norbert has been going through his basement because he knew he had some old photo equipment there. And what he found, besides some other stuff, is a 1960 SLR from Zenit. And now he's bringing those old analog pieces of jewelry back to life. Spoiler, that's for another video. This time, and for this video, the camera itself, the Zenit itself, is the centerpiece of our photo series, and we are excited to show you this iconic apparatus from the past. So please join us as we explore this vintage gear. It's presented in different compositions and lighting, and you can expect my honest feedback and plenty of photo nostalgia. We would also like your feedback. Please tell us in the comments about your possible basement finds and how you started out, with which equipment you started out. You might have even older equipment that's still working, and give us some constructive feedback in the comments. And please hit the subscribe button. We really would appreciate that, and the channel would really benefit tremendously from that. That said, all right, Norbert, please take us away and show us what you brought with this classic
Yes,
SLR.
thank you, Martin, for this nice introduction. So then I will start sharing. And while I'm doing that, as you said, I was cleaning up the basement recently. And what I found was,
This.
can you already see it? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can see it.
Was
That's
this was this was this old piece of yeah, I just wanted to say antique technique, yeah? Because it's definitely from the 1960s, and I have a very special relation to this camera because when I
Mhm.
was a child, uh, this was the first camera my parents took with them on our holidays.
Mhm.
And you cannot imagine how many pictures I did with this camera. It was my first approach to photography when I was a little boy, about 4, 5, 6 years old.
Mhm.
And then, for whatever reason, uh, this camera ended up in a box and in the basement. And
Mhm.
yeah, recently, as said, I cleaned up the basement and then I found this treasure. And
It,
as you know me, and maybe also some already our followers, I'm very addicted to sunrises and sunsets. And last weekend, I decided to bring this camera to a location. First of all, to bring it in the center of interest and to do the pictures with my yeah, I'm normally working with a Panasonic Lumix, and I used this as my center motive and tried to capture the warm light during the sunrise. But I also made really analog pictures with the camera, so I'm also super surprised to see them. They are not finally ready. They're not developed, but
okay.
this might be spoiler, something for a different story. Hmm.
The camera
Yeah,
looks
so
so tidy. But it's not. It doesn't look new, but it looks so. I don't know what to say. It still looks not definitely not like the 60s. It looks so clean. It looks
yeah,
so
it's not definitely
unscratched.
from 1960. It's from middle of the 60s. Yeah,
No,
60,
no, and
65,
that's
66,
not what
something
I
like
mean.
that.
But it
Yeah,
looks so
yeah.
clean. It looks that there's not a scratch. There's not a lot of scratching on it.
Yeah, so if you zoom in a
It's
little bit, you see the lens is
yeah,
here
okay.
a
The
little bit
lens is a
scratched,
little
but
bit worn
uh,
down. Yes,
yeah,
okay. But the camera
that's
body itself looks like as if it's very good taken care of.
I spent some time to clean it up before the first use again.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent some evenings besides looking television to clean it up.
Okay. No, it
Yeah,
really blended.
and then yeah, last weekend it was Saturday last week, early morning because sunrise at 5:30
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. Yeah, and they brought it with me. The first, so I will show you 6 pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and the first 3 have been taken with a objective that has a fixed focal length of 60 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Sigma, and concerning my camera that has a crop factor of 2, that means it's 16 times 2. It's at the end a 32 millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to bring it in a nice setup, in a nice composition, and that was the first attempt. So I think this one, shows clearly the golden hour sunlight. Yeah, and you see here that the lens flare and the reflection. And how to say, I would say it has almost a kind of cinematic touch here.
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't like on this picture, to be very honest, is this modern day tripod. Yeah, it doesn't fit. So you have the old 1960s camera, and then you have this modern tripod. And for me, that's it's not fitting together.
Shall I give sparring on each photo separately, or do you want to go through all of them and then I
No,
give
no,
my take in the end?
I'm starting with the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and here, I tried to bring it in the center. I missed a little bit to bring it in the right position here.
Mm-hmm.
But from the here it's a little bit overexposed on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first shot, I think it was not too bad. But I'm not that happy with this capture. Mm.
I can understand that. Of course, I had the chance to see the pictures up front, also to prepare a little bit for this video, of course. And I agree. So I think the tripod is a little bit too dominant in the picture. So the camera itself is too small. And I like the lighting, how the central lens is lit from the sun. And so there's some reflection in the lens, right? So was there
Yeah, exactly.
still artificial light on somewhere that you were pointing this
Uh,
lens towards, or
and
is
and
this
to
just
to avoid
the sunlight?
and to that's sunlight, yeah, and
Ah,
and
okay,
to
that's just the
that's
sunlight.
sunlight because
Okay,
there was the sunrise just
okay,
in the back,
all
and
right.
that's the sun rising above the lake. You see the reflection from the water here, and
But there's also
but
some
to
other
avoid,
little small points in there. Uh,
exactly.
to
You
the
have
left, to the
here
right.
these reflections, and
Is this also
so that's
sunlight reflection or is this some other
that's
light?
that's all. Yeah, so here there's a very small sailing harbor right behind, and this was one of the lights.
Mm-hmm.
So when the boats are entering the harbor, you see this light here.
Okay.
But to avoid exactly this situation, I tried the next one,
Sorry.
uh, to do it from a different angle.
Yep.
So this gives a more, let's say, dynamic perspective and a cleaner reflection control. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here again, the tripod is super dominant. Um,
Mm,
so I really wanted to have a old style tripod from the 1960s that it would fit.
okay,
Mm,
you're
yeah,
aiming for the
yeah, yeah. Uh,
optimal
what I like here
version.
is that the logo is very sharp, so it's really in focus.
Yes.
And and also that the background, you can see the some
The
sailing boats
mast from the
here, and
sailboats, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's funny because
Yeah,
I thought the same thing. I think the composition is much better than the former one. I don't mind. that tripod that much. Well, if you could find an old one, of course, that would be much better. But it's not as dominant as in the first one. And the image with the sailboats in the background and the sharp image of the Zenit on the camera a little bit tilted towards the back. I think to me, that's a much better shot than the first one, even if we don't see the
And you cannot see
reflection.
it here on the photograph, of course, but it was very difficult to adjust the camera because the sun was coming up that fast and the lights changed from minute to minute.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm also now trying to do everything in manual mode and not using some uh, PI features from the camera, this is something I really want to avoid, and I'm not doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the setup here has been done pure manual on the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and here I said I tried to use a different angle and to avoid these reflections, but I'm still not that happy. No?
Okay. Yeah.
So
But
because for
we
me,
agree it's much better than the first one.
yeah, it's better. It's better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to show, we will see it hopefully later. Uh,
Okay.
this picture is it's better, but it was not uh, the composition I wanted to have.
All right.
Okay, then maybe let's go to the next one.
Yes.
So here I changed my optics and I came to the telezoom. It's a 100 to 300. Uh, with my camera, it's 200 to 600, as said, with the crop factor, and I had to step back some meters.
Yes.
And yeah, it was very difficult here to uh, have it stable, without moving around with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And here, yeah, it's more close to the shot I wanted to have. But from the exposure here, it's looks like a little unsharp, and also the reflection here. And again, this tripod. So I really,
Well, you won't get rid of this for this series, right?
yeah, I won't get that's the problem. I won't get rid of this tripod. I need to find a different solution next time. Mm. But this is
But I like this
really worse than.
uh not better, but I think it's different and the same quality or as good as the previous one, because now it's again more front facing. And you are right, it's not as sharp, but in my opinion, it somehow complements the shot a little bit in that it's um, older equipment. So the previous one might be actually too sharp for me. So, and there's again reflection in the lens. And what I also like is the grip. I don't know what kind of material this is, but it looks a little bit rough so that your fingers can get a good grip on the camera.
Mhm.
And that's the structures is where you can see it very well and good. And so to me, the overall composition works quite nicely. It's not entirely horizontal, but well, that's just by a little bit. And in general, it's the one thing you want to show is quite dominant. And as I imagine, in a very, very lit way and in a very well presented way. So I like this also quite a lot. I think this is one of my two
Yeah,
favorites.
here what I like here is you can see all these buttons here and wheels, and
Yes.
but my to be very honest, my intention was to keep the focus here on these buttons and wheels. But
Mm-hmm.
I matched here. I think the focus here was set on the lens because also the writing here is almost on this logo is almost on the edge of sharpness. Yeah, you can see it, but
Yes.
it's not as sharp as it should be. Hmm?
But as I
But,
said, in
but
from the feeling, it does
uh,
not hurt the composition. From the
yeah,
feeling, in my opinion, it complements the composition.
Mm. And what I like absolutely here is this warm light
Yes.
coming from the sunrise.
Hmm.
This gives the whole composition the special touch.
Yes.
Mm. So, but now
And
we are
I
coming
also
closer.
like in the rings of the lens,
Yeah.
the
Mm.
this structure and how it's
Yeah.
color graded from color and graded by age. I really
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
still the etched numbers from the diameter and stuff like that. That's
Um,
quite sharp. So I really like
Yeah,
the
you
whole.
see when I zoom in, you can see here that's a Helios lens, and you can see
Yes.
all the writings here super sharp.
Hmm.
But if you go up here, it's starting to get blurry. Yeah. So this is
Yeah. But when you zoom in that much, I think we are past 100%. So
yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. But I understand.
Yeah. And what I learned during this uh, whole session, it's not that easy just to photograph objects, even if they are standing still.
Yeah, okay.
Then this one is almost as I wanted to have it.
Okay. It's a little bit sharper.
Um,
Yes. Hmm.
yeah, exactly. Here again, as you said, there's no chance to get rid of these tripods.
Yeah, but from this perspective, you couldn't say if it's
Yeah,
really old or new because
yeah.
well
And here
the
I tried
tripod, not the camera.
here tried to set the focus here on the logo,
Hmm.
and I also like this reflection here
Yep.
from the sun.
And the sun
It gives
reflection
it,
in the lens is also
yeah, yeah.
quite
And
wonderful with the
and if
various
you zoom
color
in,
with the
yeah, if
various.
you zoom in, you can
Yeah.
really see here the pier and the
Yes.
lake behind.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And this is just reflection, so there's no artificial light. That's just lens reflection.
Ah, okay. Wow. Okay, then you can count the lenses almost. So it might be
Yeah,
that there are five lenses inside.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Ah, okay. That's what I wondered. Yeah, okay.
Yep. And then this is also something, yeah, this is not as I wanted to have it.
I imagine that. So yeah,
Yeah. So here I was
be,
shaking too much a little bit with the,
yeah.
yeah. So this is something that went
Yeah,
completely wrong. So I cut the
but
camera
the
off.
funny. Mhm.
Mm. Uh,
Sorry, I didn't want to
yeah, but
interrupt you.
the, the look is hard, but that's yeah, the best thing here on this picture.
Yeah, no, the
Yeah.
funny thing to me is that the name of the camera Zenit is quite sharp, in
Yeah.
contrast to what happens with the lens there, because the lens actually is really not sharp anymore. So
Yeah.
you must have had
Exactly.
a very,
Mm.
very, very low depth of field. So
Mm.
because it must already have stepped out of the plane because the Zenit is still sharp and up to the
Yeah.
front it's not sharp at all anymore. So
And just guess the distance from here to here. Yeah.
yeah,
When it
that's
comes to
maybe two
depth, yeah, it's
centimeters, right, or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so this is something, yeah, I'm not very happy with this one,
Mm-hmm.
but now we are coming
Yeah.
closer. It's also not the final version. It's not the final version. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Mm.
here we have the opposite effect, right? You have
Yeah.
the focus on the lens and
Yeah. Mm.
the signature, the name is a little bit
Uh,
out of focus. But it's still much better
and
than the last one, I think.
definitely. But what I wanted to do is to set really the focus on the logo. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I made this capture from almost 7, 8 meters away, yeah, because of the tail end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And yeah, it was not very easy to uh, stay in position without moving around,
Mm-hmm.
even if my camera has a very good stabilizer. So you can do these shots with a 600 millimeter tele without
Yeah.
tripod. That's possible.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
but
again depth of field. Do you have the metadata at hand?
blah, blah, blah,
Or
blah. Let me check. Let me check. I have it
because
somewhere.
I think it's again a very low depth of field, and
Mm,
therefore you have just the lens sharp and the
mm.
name is already not sharp already.
Look, I will try to find it to figure it out.
Yeah, just that's okay.
Uh,
No
so what
worries.
do we have here? It's this one. So here we have it. Mm.
Okay, this is ISO 100. Oh wow, you would have
That's
thought you.
264 millimeters.
Oh yeah, 8. Okay, that's
Yeah,
in very short time.
yeah.
Wow, okay. Wow, that's
And,
interesting. I would have guessed
uh,
totally
and you see
different
here the whole
values.
series, so I made a lot more than
Yeah,
just
yeah.
those ones I'm showing. Mm.
I would have guessed a totally different values. Okay. I would have thought that you would have to have a longer exposure time, and I would have thought that you would have an even a lower aperture value. Cool.
And then this is what I wanted to have.
Yeah. And I think it is for me also the best shot in this series. Because yeah, now you have it, you have the letters sharp, and still there is so much going on in the lens,
Exactly.
and
You can see
the
here
grip.
the lake again, and there's a very nice building close by in this small marina, and you can see it looks like copper reflection.
Ah, okay,
And this is you can see if you know the building, then you can see it here.
okay,
Uh, and then again, so there's no artificial light. It's just
yeah,
reflections from
okay,
the
yeah,
sunlight.
okay.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
And what I also like here, the tripod is not that dominant anymore. You just see
Yeah.
the black part, what
Mm-hmm.
fits to the color of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And also the logo is super sharp. So if you zoom
Yeah,
in,
mm-hmm.
that's
And zoom out a little bit.
yeah,
Stop, stop,
that's all.
stop,
That's completely
stop.
that's completely zoomed out. Yeah.
No, no, a little bit more in for me,
A
please.
little bit more in.
A little bit more. Stop. No, back a little bit. Out a little bit. A little bit
Up.
more. Stop. So now you can see since the camera is angled, the left side of the camera, or from our point of view, the right side,
Yeah,
is still
yeah,
sharp. The grip is still sharp. And
yeah, yeah.
then the through depth of field, it fades back to the left side from seen from the viewer. And that's also what I quite like with this image.
This gives a
I
kind of dynamic
yeah,
into this picture.
yep.
And this is what I learned in this session. It's you have so many options to play with depth of field and with the sunlight, and especially it matters uh, how you choose the angle you capture the object.
And
Especially
there's
especially if you have so many different forms and a lens,
different parts and
different
forms.
colors,
Yes. Hmm.
hi- from silver to black, and yeah. So for me, this is the shot I wanted to have.
Yeah. And it's really very, very good dominant. The camera is filling really 90% or even more of the frame. And the tripod is really not there at all anymore, at least not from perception. The focus and the I mean the emotional focus, or I don't know how to say it. I don't mean the optical photo focus, so just where viewer is looking at is it's entirely the camera, and the reflections inside the lens are quite adding to the good picture. I think it displays the camera very, very well.
Yeah, yeah, and for me, this whole session was very emotional, because knowing that this was my first camera, so not mine, it was the camera from my parents
Mm-hmm.
that times. Uh, Standing here, and I'm using the new equipment, trying to make a good composition
50
to
yards
set this old
apart.
camera
Yeah.
perfectly into the frame. So this was really, really interesting.
Or even more, maybe closer to even 60 years apart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This camera is around 60 years old. Mm.
But I'm so astonished still, there's no scratching on the hull of the body at all. Or not really. Well, of course, it's worn down from the grip and stuff like that, but it looks so sleek. It looks so
Yeah, it
clean.
looks really, really
It's
good. And by the way,
amazing.
I have two of them. I have also the successor. It's a Zenit 3M,
Mm-hmm.
but this one looks not that untouched at the moment. I need to
Amazing.
maintain it a little bit, and but this one was the other one was the first one I ever bought by myself,
Mm-hmm.
because my parents had this type, and from time to time I borrowed the lens. This is what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, with that background, this was really a very special moment.
Then you also already have different lenses for this camera.
Yeah, I have I think it's a 200 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reason why I bought the other camera. They only sold it in combination with camera and lens.
Ah, okay.
And that was when I think I was 14 or 15 years old, something like that. So I cannot remember
Okay.
in detail.
Yep.
Mm, mm. Yeah. And I also found a lot of other interesting stuff in the basement. Uh, I really, I'm going back now to do some shots on film, back
Ooh.
to analog photography, just to do a comparison. So how the same composition looks with the modern camera compared to the old one.
Yep.
So I'm very curious
I'm
to see the results.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to this stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't show older equipment since I started maybe in the late 80s, and I had some SLR cameras from Canon already at that time. But when I made my trip around 2000 to Australia, I got everything of my equipment got stolen from the hotel room.
Wow. Wow.
So then I had for a long time nothing, only uh, at that time the first oncoming digital cameras, but not SLR cameras, but only the pocket ones. And
Yeah.
I think I bought my first digital SLR again in 2010 or something like that, or between 2010 2012, something like that. So I can't put up with your cool uh precious
So
pieces of that
if you give
time.
me 1 second, I'll be right back.
I do, sure.
You see?
Ah,
I
that's
don't know if you
difficult.
can see it.
Yeah, a
Yeah, it's
little bit.
difficult. Yeah,
Ah,
here it goes.
yes. Yeah, okay. Stop screen
Yeah.
sharing and show again. Stop screen
Yeah.
sharing. I think we are through with the images, right?
Yeah.
Except you want to
Yeah. So,
yes. Ah, wow. Okay.
here it is. Yeah. So
Very nice.
yeah, piece of history.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And as said, so my learning was that you really have to take care about choosing the right settings, depth of field, exposure, And next time I will do that, I'm trying to use a ND filter because it makes it more easier during
Oh,
this. Uh,
yes, I think that's a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm
yeah,
looking forward to this one, yeah.
yeah.
I I
So
have
this
several
was
of,
really done without any filters, nothing.
yep.
I regretted it because normally I'm using at sunrises I'm using some ND filters to
Yeah,
have
I'm still
more.
struggling with those because I have several of them, but then my equipment really gets heavy. So my photo back bag, I am not sure if I had the right pronunciation there, is already around 7 to 8 kilograms. And
Oh, okay.
if I put also the filters in there and stuff like that, then it even because usually I have both of my cameras with me, and I have also the fixed lens if I have to do some portrait, and it's also the
Mm,
macro on it and the wide angle lens. So that's by on its own, it's quite heavy. And if I get the filters, which I bought a pack
okay.
of square filters, and I think there's 3 or 4 in them, and the mounting system, and that's a package alone
Yeah.
by this size. So I think 8 by 8 or 10 by 10 centimeters, something like that. And that's why I struggle with them. I've so far I haven't done any pictures with them.
That was the reason why I decided to purchase a Micro Four Thirds camera because the equipment is uh, yeah, how to
It's a
say,
lighter,
you have
yeah.
reduced dimensions. Yeah, it's not that
Hmm.
heavy,
But I
and
think the full
even with
format,
the optics, yeah, it's easier to carry around.
yeah, I think the mirrorless nowadays are also quite light, and they
Mm,
compare nowadays from the weight to the
mm,
APS-C or to the other smaller
mm,
ones. So, but I'm not there yet.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for bringing us those pictures, and it
it
was
was my
really
pleasure.
good chat again. And
Mm.
do you want to wrap it up this time? Because I did it.
Okay, yeah, then
Well,
I will do so. No problem. It's my
we have
pleasure to do it. Yeah,
so that's our hiccup in
yeah,
our video. We
yeah,
have discussed
yeah.
everything, who presents
Yeah,
what, but we haven't discussed who's doing the
yeah,
outro.
yeah. So I will do it by chance. No, but then thank you guys for watching the second look. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Hopefully, we brought you some content that is valuable for you. If you want to support the channel, please subscribe. And if you want, you can also send us your pictures or information from your old or new equipment we would like to discuss here, even with you live, if you want to join. Then we will bring a new video again next week then. And thanks for watching us and following us. Take care, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.
See ya, bye.